Hello boys and girls, this is the gear for today. Well, what do you figure? The label almost matches the handle of my brush. Same brush I used most recent shave, same razor too. The Wilkinson Sword Razor. That's its official name, the Wilkinson Sword Razor. That's what's on the box when they released it back in the 60s. We call it the sticky because of the polymer here and how it stays grippy even when wet. Wonderful shaver. I've used it 2 times now and really like it. Chisel and Hound is the brush, and yesterday I was guessing that it was a B4 because I thought that I bought this handle here because it was a B4 knot, and I knew that if I didn't end up liking the handle I would just chop it off. But when I looked in my list, I think this is the actual version 9 of the Fanchurian knot. And so I think I just either got a great deal on it, and then I thought the handle looked ergonomic. But I think maybe it came in a group purchase, a group buy, not a group buy, but a lot purchase. It's my guess. But it's a Fanchurian version 9, and those are good knots. Generally speaking, a lot of people like them, and I like certain ones. I also like them when they are not set too low, and it may be the reason, if I bought that one individually, that may be the reason why I bought that one, because as I talked about it yesterday, when the black on these 2-band knots goes all the way to the handle, that usually means they're inset more, have more backbone, and that's not me. This one is not like that, and so it's got more splay and it feels better and all that. We are going to try in the Wilkinson Sword a Nacet blade. It's not the Nacet that I've got a load of uses on, but it's a Nacet. I think 5 or more uses on it. And I'm bringing a new soap to you guys on my channel. And this is actually a brand new one. He came out with this, and Will at Barrister and Mann sometimes comes out with ladylike scents that are not my thing at all. Everything he does is well designed and thought out, and I think so much of it achieves what his vision is, but it's just a matter of whether it's got a good audience or not. And a lot of people love his more feminine stuff. There's some guys who like those kind of scents, and that's their style, and that's okay, but that's not my style. And this one promised to be a more masculine style, and the scent notes just were right up my alley. Mainly sandalwood, Spanish leather, bergamot. You can't go wrong with that. Secondarily, geranium and rosewood were also in there too. I have had an interesting rosewood scent where all that woodiness was there, and then you caught those hint of the kind of a little rose nature to it, and that was very interesting. And no, I'm not smelling too much rose at all. Of course, you get the sandalwood and the Spanish leather. Those are very strong, and I'm glad, because that's the reason I bought the scent. Bergamot. I think bergamot is the orange wood kind of scent, and maybe neroli is the blossom of the orange tree or something like that. You know, there's a difference there. I can't remember what it is. And I don't pick up any kind of traditionally feminine floral type scent here. I think jasmine is one that usually sets me off. That if it's in there in a decent quantity, then I'm going to think it's too ladylike. But this is geranium, and so that one may be in a different family, or he's mitigated it with some of these other scents to make it be part of a team, you know, part of an effort, part of a symphony that's all working to accomplish a goal. That's kind of what Will does, and he does it very well. So I like it. The Spanish leather, the sandalwood, very nice and strong. Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that, and pretty confident then that this is in his, Omnibus? Isn't that the base? That is his most recent. It's just been so long since I have been. He's not putting it on his label. All right. All right, very good. The brush has been soaking for several minutes. Let us load up. That's what I usually forget. I like to load up the razor blade when I have dry hands. And yeah, the Wilkinson sword's sticky. Does the handle, this blue part, actually get sticky when it's wet? To me, no. Does it even get tacky? Not really. It just seems to, I mean, okay, yes, it is a little bit more tacky when it's wet, but I think what's going on is, right now my fingers are dry and kind of oily. But once I start handling shaving soap, the oils are going to be cleaned away, and my finger is what's going to be wet. Water beads off of this polymer here. And so I think what's happening is it's not letting my wet fingers make it slippery. And so I think it keeps the friction on there. I don't think I don't think the surface actually gets more tacky. I think it just resists slipperiness. That would be how I would say it. Another thing, the blade just drops in there and it's perfect every time. It's a mild to maybe slightly more than mild razor, it seems. But I'm discovering it cuts really well. Today's a 2-day growth. And so I fully expect it, because a couple shaves ago it was on a 3-day growth approximately. And so I fully expect it to be no problem today, especially with a blade like the Nacet, which often is a really sharp and kind of smooth one for me, where it cuts really well and comfortably. So now, face wet. Yeah. Fortunately, my congestion is going down, so I don't have that cough like I did a few days ago, where I had to have a cough drop in my mouth while I was talking to you guys. I'm glad that's gone. All right, so brand new, kind of brownish in color, kind of a light brown, almost like maybe a little darker than a manila folder, a little bit less yellow than a manila folder, if you're familiar with that. Lightly wet. It's still got a lot of water in it. These, the 2-band tips, since they are treated with a bleaching agent, they will actually be tiny sponges, and so they can absorb water. And so that's some of the weight that you feel after you've had one soak for a while. So let's just kind of go until we see the suds. And the suds look about right. If they're really thin, flimsy suds, then we probably need to keep going. Those flimsy ones are bubbling up right now. Let's keep going a little bit more. Especially since it's a new soap. Sometimes there is a film. I'm going to overdo it, and so there we go. Better to have a little bit more. And then, if you guys have watched me very long, you know that sometimes I like to use the overflow to kind of work the grease off of my face. Kind of as a pre-wash. All right, now let us work that lather up in kind of my usual way before I started working on the slurry lather method. So immediately after just a few swirls, you can see how I don't have as much water in the bowl or brush as I had the other day. It's because I just shook out more. And so it's not going to bubble up. It's going to be creamy right away here. And then it's going to get even more firm as the water, and more pasty as the water that we had in the brush does start to mix with the soap. And we'll have that shelf be around the lather in the bowl. You see how the lather is up on the side of the wall there and staying there? That's okay. That's to be expected at this point because we haven't really put a ton of water in it. So this is more like a lightly wet brush starting out. And so that does mean that I might as well, now look at that. You know, some people have a lather that looks like that and they shave with it. They have finished working it all up together and it is that consistency, which is on the pasty side, a little bit on the dry side, at least according to me, in my opinion. If they like to shave with that, then okay. But they're definitely not shaving with the slickest lather that they can have. Honestly, they're not shaving with a lather that's nearly as slick as it could be with more time and more water. The same scent from the dry puck is just coming up to my nose. Doesn't that look even better than before? Got that great sheen to it. The leather and the sandalwood. I'd say the leather is even stronger than the sandalwood. I remember when Will announced Ubrique, and I'm assuming I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. When he announced it, I think he mentioned something about the type of sandalwood that it was. Probably wasn't the traditional type of Indian sandalwood that is most popular here in America, at least. But that oil, I think I spoke to an artisan at a local show, and they said she was maybe in her 60s or 65, and she said her generation is the one that was responsible for the lack of sandalwood, real sandalwood in our world today, because they just loved it so much in the 60s and 70s, kind of the hippie, you know, vibe, that they consumed a lot of it. Kind of used up the world's supply in a way. I wonder if that's true. Omnibus is a very good base. You can push a good bit of water into it. It's not a purely slick base. And when I say that, I mean the kind of slickness that it offers isn't the slickest, because it's got these face moisturizing ingredients that Will wanted to put in. And so I actually like his base a few iterations ago. What was it called? Glissant, I think it was. Okay, we've got a nice gravity affected cream here. Look at that. There's not a lot of guys shaving now that are going to be using a lather like that. They like to have it be standing up on the brush all ready for photos. If you like that, that's okay. But this is also the kind of lather that'd be great for straight shavers as well. But I like it extra doubly slick. Just put a little bit of water on my face and let's go. Look at that nice wide easy splay on this brush. I have a Fanchurian that I really like the handle on, but the knot is set a little too deep. See, this is, some people say if it's not dripping like this and getting all over your shirt when you're putting it on, you know, they like really wet, slick lathers too. They say if it's not like this, dripping, then you know you're doing something wrong. That's their opinion. If it ain't dripping, you're tripping, something like that. Oh, this is fabulous. This is such a high performance lather here. It is messy. It means you've kind of got to wipe your shirt up and maybe even some of your counter, but when it comes time to that razor, let it slide across your face with ease, protecting your skin from razor burn, giving you just that wonderful glide feeling. Then it's worth it. As I mentioned before, Sir Kenneth Grange is the inventor of this razor. It's really cool, all the different things that he invented. The London taxi cab that started in 1997. So for a while now, it's been quite iconic. You know, that black one. The nose cone of one of the British railway trains. High speed. And the interior of it as well, I think. This is giving me a little bit more sharpness. A little bit more of a rough feeling than the Wilkinson sword did. So that's interesting. So just because the razor's sharper doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be as smooth. You can back off on the sharpness a little bit and still cut as effectively and be kinder to your skin. I mean, it's possible to do that. So sometimes asking people what the best sharpest one is not going to be the one that's going to give you the best shave with the best feel on your face and the closest cut, you know, all those together. And besides, I mean, sharpness is kind of because there's so many variables here, it's kind of a relative construct. Yeah, we're good. Okay, a little quick splash. Yeah, I have pretty much abandoned the full rinse. I just don't see the need for it. Unless you just want to spend extra time feeling your skin, and sometimes when your head is down near the sink and you're splashing water up on your face, sometimes that concentrates the scent of your shaving soap, and so that you know, could be a really wonderful part of your shaving experience, and so I don't slight you for that. But practically speaking, I think I'm learning that I don't really need to do a complete rinse until the very end of the shave. Yeah, so this thing has already taken off 95% of the hair. And so now it's feeling a whole different smooth experience. It was comfortable before, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't as smooth and comfortable as the Wilkinson sword blade from India. And I've been told, my friend, I think my friend Okie Dokie Cool was the one who mentioned that he thinks they have revamped the Wilkinson sword India blade, maybe around 2023, something like that. I haven't verified that, but I think he's big. He monitors the Indian shaving forums as well, and so he might be someone who knows. Yeah, see, it's just wonderful, great, slick feeling. Not quite as fast as something with pure slickness in mind, like the glissant base of yore, or the Fine Accoutrements Classic Puck, or the old tallow of the Mitchell's Wool Fat, all those guys. The Spearhead 2.0 base. he's moved to a different base, the Highland base now, and it's more into a direction kind of like the Omnibus is, where where they're bringing kindness to your face, ingredients, and those sometimes are just not as fast as the Spearhead 2.0 version that when he first launched Seaforth was the one that was that. All right, yeah, quick little splash. Oh, yeah, that scent. Ooh, that is good. I bought the cologne as well a while back when I bought this, and I'm really glad that I did, because if I'm heading out, I can just experience that awesome cologne smell without having to shave. It is, if I had to say that it reminded me of fresh factory rubber with some spices, some good sandalwood and spices mixed in, hopefully that wouldn't make you feel bad about the scent. But to me, it's great. I think that kind of almost like a new car smell almost. And I think that kind of fresh rubbery smell, that part of the fragrance, is very similar to the Spanish leather part. And I think the sandalwood is something different. I can distinguish it from the leather slash new rubber smell. But I love that Spanish leather, and my mind can take it either way. Before I realized it was Spanish leather, I thought, oh, fresh factory rubber with those sandalwood spices. You know, that's what was in my mind. I was, oh, that's good. So my mind can go either way with it. As you can see, this is not evaporating at all. Just a wonderful creamy lather here. Very hydrated. But now just kind of picking up a few of the extras. When your razor is this drippy, it is something that I tend to rinse off more than when my razor is more dry, when my lather is more dry. Yeah, very, very comfortable. I have a feeling that the Nacet is a very good razor blade for this one. But if you shave on multiple days of growth, it'll take it down. But you might feel that edge just a little more than if you were to just do 1 day of growth. Did I take care of everything? Yeah, I did. I'm going to get a good rinse now, clean up all the gear, figure out what I want to use for a post-shave experience. You know what? Let's do... I'm going to do either this gin and tonic, witch hazel, or lemongrass witch hazel. These are samples from Stirling, 1 ounce each. I'll pick one of those guys. Remember all that loading I did? It was twice as much as I needed to do, because I have got a lot still of awesome lather. I mean, that's just perfection right there. Matter of fact, other soap bases do not give this slinky kind of lather when it gets this wet. Usually it has a little bit more viscosity, but this particular one, man, I mean, this is luxury. This is, I'm letting it kind of drip off into the sink because I'm cleaning everything up. but I mean, this is such good stuff. This is, I mean, it just feels, it's where I like it to be. It's super slick, but you have this great creamy feeling to it. And it just feels so luxurious. There's so many guys out there shaving in the world today that are not getting a lather like this at all. Definitely not from a can. Actually, most of the guys, even in our beloved hobby here of wet shaving, most of the guys don't take it this far with the water. I think everybody should try pushing water into it, into their soap, their lather, until it breaks, until it is no longer slick, until you put that on your face and it's wet on your face, but you just don't have that slickness. And so you know how far to take it and to where to potentially start backing off. Because then you can know, once you back off a little bit and learn that where that slickest part is that the kind of slickness and lather density that you might like. If it's not, that's okay. At least you found out. You might find that that's where you like it. You might also then set that as a bookmark for later when you might try straight razor shaving and know that you can push more water into it. The better soap bases will give you a lightly creamy texture even when you push a ton of water into it and you get it really, really slick. The mediocre bases will not do that. They will kind of make you, they'll stop the slickness, they'll stop the lightly creaminess when you, at some point when you add water, and so you have to just deal with it. MDC is one of those. The old LA Shaving Soap Company is another one. Maybe Captain's Choice is another one. I think those are soaps that maybe have a more coconut oil in them. Something like that, perhaps. That I never really looked to find an exact recipe in the formula, you know, that would indicate what kind of base it might be. But a lot of face shavers or people who like it drier, then that's the kind of soap that they can very quickly and easily whip up into a lather. But that's, you know, that's just the way it is. And I'm really happy about the recent changes. I mean, Barrister and Mann has always been. I started using them at the glissant stage. I also did try their black label and white label. And even back then, those were still terrific soap bases. But then there were just so many back then when I first started in maybe about 2017. Taylor of Old Bond Street was this way. You put Martin de Condre, you push a lot of water into it and you lose the creaminess. If you back off the water so that you get that, you keep that light creaminess, then it doesn't give me the slickness on my face that I want. I can tell the difference. And so that's why even though Martin de Condre is actually a value soap, if you use it the way I use it, I was getting 6-7 passes of lather from it, and I was probably gonna get maybe just hundreds and hundreds of uses out of that tub. And so it was actually even though it was an expensive tub, by the time you added up how many months of uses I was going to get, it was ending up to be a value soap, a budget priced soap. So, okay, how much water did we use? There wasn't as much water in the brush as there has been in the past, so we ended up using more water, which you would assume is pretty logical. 21, 30, 31 milliliters. Wow, okay. How about that? We have cleaned the brush. The soap has been capped up. Opened the razor. So the Nacet, terrific little guy with the Wilkinson sword sticky. And yeah, again, right now you can see the water beading on the handle, and it's not going anywhere. No slippy. No, this down here, the smooth stainless steel part that I'm gripping now is much more slippery when wet than the polymer area here. Really cool design, Mr. Grange, Sir Grange. All right, I kind of feel like the gin and tonic is a little bit less strong than the lemongrass. And the lemongrass kind of fights a little bit with the sandalwood and the leather. I think it would pretty much erase that scent from my face right now, where I don't think the gin and tonic would do it quite as much. So, witch hazel is kind of a very watery, milky thing from Stirling. They do sell it unscented as well, and it's not pure witch hazel, which stinks. It actually smells really bad, but it's a toner, and so it's got aloe and other things to it. I didn't need as much as you saw in my hand, if you were able to see that much. But you can put it on the back of your neck or just wherever. I mean, even up on your forehead. It's just to kind of give your skin some nutrients. Why, Mr. Sugar Daddy, what are the other ingredients in the witch hazel from Stirling? Witch hazel is the primary, then aloe is next, aloe leaf juice, then distilled water, then some polysorbate 20, juniper fruit oil, lime oil, and citrus lemon peel oil. And it does actually say lemon peel oil, so that must be the name of that particular oil. It does get a little tacky on your skin, but it will go away after a bit. That's probably those glycol type ingredients. But yeah, it feels great on my face. It does not stir up. If you've had a rough shave, it's like a balm where you will feel more nourished after the shave. Because of that, it will help to heal rather than an alcohol splash or alum that will cause you to feel all the stinging and all that. So I definitely like, if I was just stuck with the witch hazel toners, I'd be pretty happy. And I went a long time only having just the Lucky Tiger as the witch hazel and Thayer's, which is, here is the smaller size of Thayer's. I need to remember that I have that. I like that too. I think Stirling feels like it's more nutritious for my face. I don't get as much of a sticky feeling with the Thayer's, and so it's probably lighter on the skin food, and you may like that better. Also, this is a lavender scent, and I used the unscented for a long time, but honestly, this lavender scent is so light that it kind of goes with almost every scent that I've ever tried it with. It especially accents woody notes, because lavender and wood is a terrific combination. And it's so light that even if you have just used a scent on your face that is contrasting to lavender, it's not strong enough to really interfere much. I also bought the vetiver and bergamot lavender, larger sizes. These are 200 milliliters from Stirling as well. I think they may have had a sale several months ago or something like that. I need to try those too. Yeah, a little bit of sticky feeling on your hands, but you can just rinse that off. There we go, folks. Thanks so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys have a good night. Appreciate you.